a lot of interesting things to talk about as we head into the 9th round of the Formula 1 2018 season. And that starts off at Red Bull, as the entire team has now gone into chaos mode, as Toro Rosso have now claimed that they knew absolutely nothing about the takeover. From last episode, we found out that Red Bull were looking to sell Toro Rosso to a brand new team, or just remove Toro Rosso and just let someone else jump into Formula 1. Now it's now been confirmed that Toro Rosso never even knew that Red Bull were planning such a takeover, and now things are all going wrong down at Red Bull. We'll have to keep an eye on what happens and what Toro Rosso will do to Red Bull in this scenario. Some bad news for Williams heading into the new season, and that is that they'll be losing the Mercedes power units at the end of the season. It has been confirmed by Mercedes that they will no longer be supplying Williams for the start of next season. This is due to financial issues. We do believe that Williams are not willing to pay Mercedes-Benz the engine prices that they're asking for, and also Mercedes have not received all of the money that they should have from Williams for the engine supplies for this season. Mercedes have therefore stated that they will not be supplying Williams at the end of the season, but they do expect all finances regarding their engines to be sorted by the end of the season, or Mercedes may consider taking action. Now, an interesting one that comes out from the court case regarding Thomas Fox and the entire drug saga. We found out that Thomas Fox was pleaded not guilty to actually using any form of performance-enhanced drugs, but we did find out that basically there was a mistake between all the drug samples, and it got a little bit confusing. Well, now we found out that there was actually a secret robbery of the drug center in which not just Thomas Fox, but many other sporting people were actually affected by this. Now, the biggest question that comes out of this is A, how did no one understand that there was a robbery around? And B, who the security guards were at the specific time in that center during the night. Why did they not say anything, and why did they not do anything about it afterwards? So there's now a big case going on, and it looks like it wasn't Thomas that was just affected by the performance-enhanced drugs. We do believe that many sporting stars were actually affected, as basically these robbers pretty much just put all these silly samples inside of the actual test samples that had not yet been sent off. So now it's going to get a little bit complicated, and it's going to get a lot more difficult to find out what actually happened here and why did the security guards do nothing about it. Finally then, it's a little bit of bad news unfortunately for Porsche, and they say that they are looking unlikely to join Formula 1 as a new team next season. However, Porsche have stated this in their statement. Looks unlikely to join as a team. That doesn't state that they can be a title sponsor or an engine supplier or anything to do with Formula 1. They just say at the moment they don't quite know if they're ready to take that big step to be a team and just straight away. So I'll have to get some news on Porsche, but yeah, they still say that they're looking to try and to get to Formula 1 next season, but they're not quite sure if going straight in as a team is going to be their best bet. Moving on then though into the news ahead of the Singapore Grand Prix, and having a look then into practice, and Thomas Pace in Singapore is looking much faster than anybody else. He says that the performance updates on the Audi are working an absolute treat, and he says that he's really enjoying the car a hell of a lot more than he was in USA. Ferrari are looking extremely poor here on the streets of Singapore. They're on the back foot heading into this weekend, and it seems that Ferrari are unsure why. Heading into the Monaco Grand Prix, Ferrari were undoubtedly the fastest team out of anybody, but here at Singapore, they cannot get their car to work, and at the moment they look slower than Thomas Fox's Audi, Mercedes, and also Red Bull, and could be lingering down the back end of the points heading into this race. Lewis Hamilton is also looking very strong once again as he looks to try and get his season back on track. It's been a stop-start season for Lewis Hamilton, but he says that he's put all of the issues behind him and he's just enjoying the good run of form that he has. Heading into the Singapore Grand Prix, it's time for qualifying. Yo, what's going on guys, it is Foxy298 here, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the F1 Journey. Today we are here for the Singapore Grand Prix, and yeah, we're hoping to try and continue our run of form. And as you can see, we're here in qualifying, and it is unfortunately intermediate conditions, which is a little bit awkward for myself because I've never actually practiced this race in the wet conditions. I've only practiced it in the dry, so I'm trying to learn again as the back end comes out there. But in our first qualifying run, we actually set a 156.6, which was the fastest lap ahead of my teammate Nico Rosberg, as I then corner cut all of that corner, which is perfectly fine because I get instant karma by the back end sliding out on me there. But as you can see then, we're here for our final qualifying lap, and our first run is still good enough for pole position, but we're going to try and improve on a lap because I know that we can. And towards turn 1, turn 2 there, we went a little bit wide there on the exit. Probably had all the wheels off the track, but the back end kind of slid out. You're not really going to gain anything from doing that. As we continue onwards now, you can see we're half a second up on our previous best lap as we clip the corner there and onto the straight now. A little bit of a love tap there with the wall. Luckily, no damage, but we continue on our way as we head down the straight now here. And remember, this is only my second lap ever in these intermediate conditions, so as you can see, fastest by 3/10 in the first sector, just about missing the apex a little bit there, back end sort of sliding out as we now break down in towards second gear here. This is a very tight corner, and as you can see, we get that one perfect, but as you can see, we're already 6/10 up on our best lap here as we break in towards third gear. It's meant to be a fourth gear corner, but I probably broke down a little bit too much there, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's perfectly fine as we now head in towards the Singapore sling section here in fourth gear. Now, back end sort of trying to slide out on me there, and it's pretty much just monitoring the rear of the cars. We're into third gear now, short shifting up into fourth now as we head over the bridge in towards the hairpin corner now here, breaking down into second gear, taking a second jab at the corner as I actually initially turned in a bit too early, short shifting straight up into third gear to get the traction and get that run off the corner. You can see that we're 3/10 up now. We lost a little bit of time in this middle sector, but crucially we are still fastest, and of course our pole lap is of course what we're aiming for here, so anything that we can do faster is just going to improve, and you can see that we're back up to half a second up as we head in towards this final sector. This is where the lap sort of fell apart a little bit. You can see that we got this point just quite there as we tap the wall again in towards this corner, just losing the back end ever so slightly, and you can see the car really wrestling. I'm having to do everything now just to keep the car really just functioning the way I want it to as we head in towards the last two corners. Now back end yet again sliding on me there, having to lift off horribly there, auto-correcting constantly left, right and centre, but in towards the final two corners now. We get a great run of that last corner, and we're going to come across the line, and we do claim our first ever pole position here in the F1 journey. That is the first pole I've ever had, and it is going to be a brilliant lap there. We managed to pull it together, and there was still plenty of time, nearly half a second quicker. In the intermediate conditions especially, taking on the AIs is a hell of a lot easier, so it'll be interesting to find out where we are, but we're starting in a perfect position with Nico Rosberg really far down the order, just still failing to perform for Audi. So luckily he has part shares with Audi, otherwise I'm pretty sure they'd be giving up with him at this point in the season. But that is pole position, and there was still plenty of time to gain, and obviously we managed to get a great run out of the last corner, which gained back another 3.5 tenths there. As you can see, having a look at the strategies, it's either going to be a 2-stop or a 3-stop race, but I'm actually going to convert both of those strategies and go for my own one today. I'm actually going to go for the 1-stop today. I feel like it's going to be the best strategy for us. Tyre wear isn't that bad around here. The super softs will go a long way. And pretty much at this point I was taking quite a conservative route. Now obviously, as you've seen, is obviously if you guys don't know already, when I practice for racing with no corner line, I do a couple of laps. But anyway, in terms of that, we need to see how we are in race pace. So I'm taking the cautious option, and we're going on the 1-stop, and it is lights out where we go here for the start of the Singapore Grand Prix. It's actually been a superb start from us here to kick things off. Vettel now under pressure from Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton off to a fabulous start. He actually got out-qualified by Vettel today, and he's under pressure now from, I believe that is Carlos Sainz in the background there. So Hamilton in front of Sir Vettel. Sainz now trying to go down the inside of Sebastian. Can he make this move stick? No, he's just a little bit further back now, but on towards the straight here. You can see I am currently in the lead of the race. Hamilton follow me in second. Sainz in third. Vettel down into fourth place. So Vettel, horrible start there, dropping 2 places off the start line. Looking quick in the intermediate conditions. Not looking so fast here today, but as you can see, everyone starting on the ultra soft tyres, whereas I am making the run on the super soft tyres, and now I'm trying to get into the groove. Onto lap 2 to start lap 3 of the Grand Prix. We're starting to get into the groove a little bit now. I was actually braking really early into corners as Hamilton responds there with a new fastest lap. I was actually responding to trying to work out my braking points all again, as we can see here. Stoffel Vandoorne just a little bit further back now down the order, trying to go around the outside of Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg locks up, makes contact there with Stoffel Vandoorne. Alonso now getting a little bit close into the action here. He might fancy a run as we go on towards the helicopter cam now. Vandoorne with that inside line, but he's under pressure from his teammate Alonso, so he needs to make this move stick now. Hangs it around the outside. Lovely battling between between Stoffel Vandoorne and Nico Hulkenberg, and the McLaren car powering through now. But as they come in towards the Singapore sling section, they are still side by side. Vandoorne on the inside now, and as they come over towards the bridge, Vandoorne stays in front, Hulkenberg drops behind, Fernando Alonso slots in just behind them, and one of the Force Indias is there as well. But onto lap 7 of the Grand Prix, it's all gone wrong for Fernando Alonso as he's out of the Singapore Grand Prix, and you can see it's myself leading from Hamilton, Sainz and Vettel, all pretty much in a little train at the moment there, and that's annoying for Fernando Alonso, who's doing such a great job. But at this moment in time, I'm just learning my braking points, because I was braking too early because of the intermediate conditions. Of course, it's dry again now, so I've got to relearn my braking points. So, yeah, it's a bit strange, that one, but we're trying to carry on. And unfortunately, my teammate Nico Rosberg is out of the race, so that's his first DNF, actually, of this 2018 season for Audi, I think, as a whole. I don't think Audi have ever had a retirement before, but here's Fernando Alonso's retirement. This is after Vandoorne overtook Hulkenberg. It was on the same lap, actually, so Alonso there with some sort of mechanical failure. He's not new to that, so it's fine. And then riding on board with Nico Rosberg, he is actually attacking one of the Williams cars. It looks like Sergei Sorokin that he's on the back of, and then unfortunately, just another mechanical fault, just pulls off to the side here in turn 1, and that's his race over and done with. But as we head on to lap 11 of the Grand Prix now, the ultra soft tyres, all of the runners have now made their first stop, to go onto a fresh set of ultra softs, whereas I'm just carrying on my super softs at the moment. We just set the fastest first sector of anybody, but I did outbrake myself here, go very wide off the track, and Robert Kubica is now out of the Grand Prix. So bad news there for Renault. So the Renault powered cars having some problems, apart from obviously, you know, Rosberg drives for Audi and he's got an Audi powered car. So yeah, but 2 Renault powered cars out of this Grand Prix. But onto lap 14 of the Grand Prix, it's been a very quiet first stint, and honestly, I was absolutely loving this track. I don't know what it was. There are some tracks where I can just click, but here, and some tracks where I just don't. For example, in the USA, you know, I may have won that Grand Prix last time around, but you would have seen it. I was defending really, really hard. Here in Singapore, despite being on the slowest super soft tyres for the first stint, I was under no pressure at all. Yes, Hamilton was in DRS range of me, but he never really got that close. But as we come out of the pits now here, you can see that we're actually getting close between myself and Lewis Hamilton here. It is going to be Lewis Hamilton that will rejoin just in front of us there, so he has made the undercut work. But remember, we've still got another stop to make as we just about rejoin in front of Carlos Sainz. We go a little bit wide here. Sainz now on the attack here, trying to get this move done as our tyres are cold, but we just get the traction out of that corner to stay in front. But unfortunately for myself, we've got more problems and we've got more defending to do for the first time, really, in this Grand Prix, because Carlos Sainz has got DRS now, and he's going to use that on this straight. We're going to go super defensive on Sainz. He switches to the outside line here, but we just cover off Carlos Sainz there, and that attack from Sainz is over with. Now we can try and get these tyres warmed up and keep powering onwards in this Grand Prix. You can see that they're on ultra soft tyres that have probably done about, they pitted on about lap 9, lap 10, somewhere around about that range, so they're only like 4 laps old, so they're not that old. On to lap 19 of the Grand Prix now, and we've made big gains here as we nearly go into the back of Lewis Hamilton there, and this time now, the ultra soft runners are starting to struggle, and as you can clearly see, we are now really pressing on the back of Lewis Hamilton here, as I'm just trying to find a cheeky way through. Was going to try and go for it there, I decided not to. Of course, I can go for a silly dive bomb, but at this stage in the race, I knew there was one thing. Could I go for a dive bomb overtake? Yes, I could. There's plenty of opportunities for me to, but I know full well that these ultra soft runners need to make a second stop, so I'm not going to rush this move. I could go for it straight away, and if we were on the same strategy, I would, but at this stage, there's no real need to. But you can see how much later I'm able to break into these corners, and look at the amount of grip that I've got, and I'm now going to attack Hamilton here on the pit straight, and he's decided to come into the pits, so we don't need to worry about him, and we can continue on our way, which is kind of annoying, because I actually wanted to really fight someone in this Grand Prix, because I haven't really fought anyone, to be honest, apart from Carlos Sainz when we came out of the pits. Which is a little bit frustrating, but they now come into the pits for their second stop, and now they're going to be a full pit stop back with only 11 laps to go, and that was kind of it actually for the Singapore Grand Prix. That's probably the first race in the F1 journey, maybe bar the Canadian Grand Prix, where it's actually been a really quiet race, but coming across the start-finish line now, it is going to be P1 here in Singapore. Honestly, I don't even care if it's an exciting race or if it's a really quiet race and you get the job done. At the end of the day, when it comes to motorsport, you get the job done. However you get the job done, as there's a bit of a replay cam there because that wasn't edited out. Whoops. Anyway, as you can see then, having a look at the race results then, it's myself from Hamilton, Sainz, Gasly, Ricciardo, Verstappen, Vettel, Hulkenberg, Vandoorne and Wehrlein getting his first points for Force India. Ferrari a long way down the order as well. So yeah, and you can see the retirements were Kubica, Rosberg and Alonso. But without further ado, let's go into the championship standings after round 9. Alright then, so as you can see now, after the 9th round of the Formula 1 2018 season, let's have a look at the championship standings. So as you can see, I have now increased my lead at the top of the championship standings. It is now up to 30 points ahead of Max Verstappen, after Verstappen had a pretty horrid Grand Prix here in Singapore, finishing like down in 6th or 7th place. Really not good enough for Ferrari, and they're going to need to evaluate that one. Carlos Sainz still remains in third place in the championship on 114 points, and he's actually started to catch up to Verstappen a little bit, so Max may need to watch out as we head into the final 3 races of the season. Lewis Hamilton is now starting to also get into the fight for the top 3 of the championship. He is on 93 points, and he's actually overtaken both Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo, and Vettel's torrid second half of the season continues. Of course, Vettel was my championship rival, but it changed to Verstappen, and Vettel is on 83 points and in front of he's ahead of Daniel Ricciardo because Vettel has a race win in this season. Pierre Gasly is on 70 points, and he's now making some good inroads to catch up to Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel. Alonso still remains in 8th place with Hulkenberg comfortably in 9th and Van Dorn in 10th with Rosberg in 11th and Ocon 12th. Sorokin in 13th place, and Pascal Wehrlein has grabbed his first points of the season. And just to be wary, guys, there has been a slight editing issue which I've just spotted here, so please don't be alarmed that Wehrlein has a blue symbol by him and Kubica has a pink symbol. They'll be swapped around for the next episode. I've just spotted them now, and I'll change them for the next time. So don't worry, I know about them. But let's move on into the Constructors' Championship. Heading into the Constructors' Championship then after the 9th round of this Singapore Grand Prix. And as you can see, Ferrari's lead at the top of the championship has come down ever so slightly. It is now a 36-point lead that they still hold at the top. They're still pretty comfortable in front and ahead of Audi, who have now passed the 200-point mark. Aston Martin, Red Bull Racing still making good gains to catch Audi in the championship. That is their big aim. They're on 184 points, and they are just in front of Mercedes, who are on 176. McLaren stay on 59, and again, still cementing themselves in 5th place, with Renault still in 6th, Force India in 7th, Williams in 8th, and Toro Rosso and BMW are still yet to score. But guys, that is going to be it for the F1 journey. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, feel free to drop it a like, subscribe if you're new around here as well. Before we round off today's video, Ferrari have actually been invited over to Monza to just basically test out the new engine and basically give a demo run to show everybody what the engines will sound like for the 2019 season. So without further ado, here is an image and here is some video footage of the Ferraris going around Monza with the brand new V10 engines that will be coming back for next season. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time. Take care all. Peace.